So have you ever really wondered what's going on inside the brain of a chess grandmaster? I mean, how can they look at the exact same 64 squares we do, but see a totally different universe of possibilities? Well, what are their secrets? We've dug in and distilled them down to three core principles that, honestly, change everything about how they see the game.
Okay, let's make this real. For most of us, looking at a board is kind of like reading a list of ingredients. We see the individual pieces. But a grandmaster? They see the finished dish. They don't just see a bishop on a certain square. They instantly recognize what's called a fianchetto system, a powerful defensive structure, and they get its purpose, its pressure, its entire history all in a flash. It's the same board, sure, but it's two completely different realities.
So how do they bridge that gap? Well, the first secret is that they don't see pieces, they see constellations. And what's really fascinating is that this incredible skill has almost nothing to do with having a photographic memory. And get this, there's powerful proof for this. A famous experiment way back in the 1940s tested this exact thing. They showed players a mid-game position for just 3 seconds. That's it, 3 seconds. Your average club player, they could remember about half the pieces. But the grandmasters, they nailed it with a staggering 95% accuracy. I mean, that's not just a little better, right? That's a fundamentally different way of processing information. And that ability, it actually has a name, chunking. It's this brilliant cognitive shortcut. Think about reading. You don't see individual letters like C, H, E, S, S. You just see the word chess. Well, grandmasters do the same thing, grouping pieces into these meaningful patterns instead of trying to memorize 32 separate locations. And this, right here, really highlights the difference in mental workload. The amateur mind is burning all this energy just trying to log raw data. Pawn here, pawn there. It's exhausting. The grandmaster's mind, though, instantly recognizes a famous Carlsbad structure. That's a specific pawn formation, and with that single recognition, they unlock a whole library of plans and attacks, sometimes seeing 10 moves deep into the future. It's just instant.
So seeing the board in these chunks does more than just help with memory. It actually unlocks the second secret of the Grandmaster's brain, the intuition filter. And this is the key to how they think so incredibly fast when they're under pressure.
Think about this for a second. It's a staggering fact. When a grandmaster glances at a position, their brain automatically and instantly dismisses 90% of all possible legal moves. They don't even consciously think about them. For them, those moves are effectively grayed out. They're invisible.
Now, this isn't some kind of psychic ability, right? It's a highly trained intuitive filter, forged by recognizing thousands and thousands of those chunks we just talked about. This filter just automatically throws out moves that are obviously bad, moves that weaken their position or ignore what's happening in the center, freeing them from wasting a single second of conscious thought on them.
And why is this so powerful? Well, because by letting their intuition handle all the noise and the obvious stuff, it frees up all their precious mental energy. They can then pour that focus into deeply calculating the one or two critical, game-deciding variations. They're playing chess with a scalpel, not a sledgehammer.
Okay, so we've got pattern recognition building this powerful intuition. But there's a third layer, the one that separates the great from the truly elite. It's the secret of playing the ghost, or what's known as the art of prophylactic thinking.
This whole idea is captured perfectly in this one quote. Before you ask what you want to do, you must ask what your opponent is screaming to do. This is a complete 180 from how most of us approach not just chess, but any competitive situation.
This is called prophylaxis, or prophylactic thinking. And really, it's the strategy of playing the game almost entirely from your opponent's perspective. You're not just focused on your next attack. You become obsessed with finding and neutralizing their future plans before they can even take shape.
So how does this work in practice? It's kind of like a three-step dance. First, you read your opponent's deepest desire. What do they really want to do? Second, you find the linchpin, that one key piece or square that makes their entire plan work. And third, you make a subtle, almost invisible, quiet move to dismantle that plan before it's even a threat.
And this is exactly why you'll see a grandmaster make a seemingly boring move, like just shifting their king one square over. To an amateur, it looks like a wasted turn. But the grandmaster knows they just neutralized the devastating attack their opponent was planning 5 moves down the line. It's truly the art of winning the fight before it even begins.
So, we have these 3 layers: seeing patterns through chunking, filtering moves with intuition, and reading the future with prophylaxis. But what's the one big idea that ties it all together? What truly separates them from the rest of us?
Ultimately, it really boils down to this single, powerful distinction. Amateurs play the board, Masters play the opponent's intentions. They get that they aren't just moving pieces on a grid, they're in a deep psychological battle with the mind on the other side of the table.
So, how can you use this? Here's a powerful little 5-minute exercise for any competitive situation you're in, whether it's a negotiation, a debate, or even a video game. Just stop thinking about what you want to do. Instead, ask yourself, what is the one thing my opponent is most afraid of me doing right now? Force yourself to see this situation from their chair.
And that really leaves us with one final, powerful question to think about. Not just in chess, but in any complex problem we face. It's not about finding the obvious next step. It's about asking yourself, what's the most important move that I'm not even seeing?